Hi, I'm Jackie Meek from Future Path Life Coaching. It's a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you for jumping through all the hoops that you've been through to get here this evening. I know what it's like as a busy mum with so many demands and things never go according to plan. So well done for being able to put yourself first this evening and to join me in this Boosting Your Mum Mojo webinar. So firstly, I'd just like you to write in the chat where you live, just while we wait for a few more people to join. So Kiddington, Kennington, Vista, Fulham, Putney, Central London, Oxford. Great. Well, it's lovely to have you all here this evening. Thank you for joining me. Next thing I'd like you to put in the chat is how old your children or your child is, so that we just know the different ages that are here this evening. 8, 4, 4 and 6, 3 and 1, 12. So quite a different age range there. Thank you. And how did you hear about today? So how did you hear about today? I know there's a couple of people who I know. Yep, you're a friend. LinkedIn, class list, Facebook, client, recommendation. Great, thank you. So let me just suggest that we start with a short meditation. I know everybody has been busy today, so it's a really good thing just to start with a short meditation to help you transition into this part of your evening. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to invite you to close your eyes and just take a couple of slightly deeper breaths. Noticing the temperature of air as you inhale and the temperature of air as you exhale. And then return your breathing to its natural, relaxed rhythm. And as thoughts come into your mind, as they most definitely will, just allow them to pass by and return your awareness to your breathing. And maybe this is the first time that you've actually stopped today. So take this opportunity to give your mind the chance to focus on one thing, just your breathing. And then noticing your body in contact with the chair. Feel the weight of your body on the chair. Notice your feet flat on the floor, being supported by the ground underneath them. And then return your awareness back to your breathing. And as we bring this short meditation to a close, allow your awareness to come back into the room. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So I'm just going to share my screen so that you can see what we have planned for this evening. So we're going to look at giving you the opportunity to boost your mum mojo this evening. How tonight is structured I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story and my own personal journey with positive mental fitness. I'm going to talk about the saboteurs and how they negatively impact you. We're going to look at the judge saboteur, who is always ready to judge yourself, your circumstances, or others. We're going to look at the beautiful sage, where all your inner strength and wisdom is stored. And I'm going to give you an amazing offer for a 6-week mental fitness boot camp. So, a little bit about me. I am married to Alex, and I have 2 children born in 2008 and 2010. And when I gave birth in 2008, I actually had twins, and they were born extremely prematurely, 13 weeks early. And unfortunately, we lost our daughter Ella after 19 days. Our son Chris is thriving 14-year-old now, and Annabelle is 12, and it was a real blessing to go on to have another daughter. At that time, it was very difficult. I suffered from postnatal depression with my daughter, and also purple psychosis, which is where you experience an extreme high and have delusional thoughts and grandiose ideas. So I had to be on medication, which obviously isn't ideal when you're wanting to breastfeed your new baby. So it was a very tough time. In 2014, I was working, had a part-time job, and I undertook some life coaching myself. And that series of sessions with my life coach had a really positive impact on my relationship with my husband. It wasn't what I'd intended to happen as part of my coaching, but it was a real benefit to having the sessions. And what it did was it showed me how I could change rather than trying to change the other person, which is much harder. So life coaching is all about how you can be your best self and work out the best way forward for you. And it's very empowering and a great opportunity to really bring about the change that you desire in a supportive environment. In 2016, I trained to become a life coach. And whilst I was on my training course, we had to do a role play, and I had a really clear picture of talking to mums in the playground about my life coaching. And that's where my compassion and empathy for mums came about, which is why I'm really keen to continue to support mums in their important roles that they play in families. In September 2021, a long-standing friend introduced me to the Positive Intelligence Programme. And this was delivered to coaches over a period of 6 weeks. And it was a real wonderful resource. And that is what I want to share with you this evening, is the Positive Mental Fitness Programme. And it's such a smashing course. It's particularly suitable for mums who often put themselves last, who juggle too many plates, who lose their cool with their kids from time to time, who neglect their significant relationships, and who worry that they're not enough as a parent or wife or daughter or friend. So I'm sure there will be nuggets for you to take away this evening, and I really just hope that that's what you get from this, is a nugget to take away. So let's look at why we want to build our positive mental fitness muscles. Building your positive mental fitness muscles will help you to nip negativity in the bud, be equipped to stop shouting at your kids, respond well when the shit hits the fan, strengthen the quality of your personal and professional relationships, build resilience to deal with life's daily challenges in a calm and focused way, and increase your self-empathy to stop putting yourself last. So positive mental fitness has come about by the CEO of Positive Intelligence, which is a one of the largest coaching companies in the United States. And there is an accompanying book to it by Shirzad Chamine. He has trained faculty at Stanford and Yale business schools. He has a PhD in neuroscience and a BA in psychology. So positive intelligence quotient, shortened to PQ, measures the relative strength of your positive mental muscles, and they're called your SAGE. This is versus your negative mental muscles, which are your saboteurs. And I looked up the word quotient just to check I knew what it meant. And it said that it exists between differentiating between two functions, so the SAGE and the saboteur. So PQ is the most widely used measure of mental fitness. This measure is the greatest predictor of how happy you are and how well you perform against your potential. So if you think about muscles, if you're not physically fit, you would feel physical stress as you climb a steep hill or some steps. If you're not mentally fit, you feel mental stress, such as anxiety, frustration, fear, or unhappiness as you handle work or life challenges. PQ is all about weakening your saboteur muscles and strengthening your SAGE muscles. The saboteur muscles are often very strong and overused. Your mind can be your friend or your enemy. And over time, increasing your positive intelligence can increase the time that your mind is your friend and able to serve you rather than harm you. So we're going to look at the saboteurs now. But before we do that, I thought it would be good if you could write in the chat which is your top saboteur. So there's stickler, avoider, pleaser, another pleaser, hyper-rational, another pleaser, victim, stickler and avoider. So again, there's some similarities there, but there's also some differences. So you can see the different range of people's top saboteurs. The saboteurs are voices in your head that generate negative emotions in the way you handle life's challenges. Those saboteurs show up as anger, shame, guilt, fear, and they exaggerate the negative bias. They represent automated patterns in your mind for how to think, feel, and respond. They sabotage your performance, well-being, and relationships. They're situated in a specific region of your brain, the primitive brain, and they are what you've been using to keep yourself safe from real or imagined threats. Everyone has them, but they are more visible in some people than others. They are the invisible inhabitants of our mind. And Shirzad argues that they cause all of your stress, anxiety, self-doubt, frustration, restlessness, and unhappiness. So let's look at the 9 saboteurs in a bit more detail. So going in alphabetical order, we've got avoider first. The avoider focuses on the positive in an extreme and pleasant way. They can avoid difficult and unpleasant tasks and avoid conflict. The controller saboteur. They are anxiety-based and they need to take charge and control situations and people's actions to their own will. They often have high anxiety and impatient when that control is not possible. Hyperachiever. The hyperachiever saboteur is dependent on constant performance and achievement for self-respect and self-validation. Their latest achievements are quickly discounted, often needing more. Hyper-rational. I love this symbol, the way they have a cog instead of a heart. People with the hyper-rational saboteur have intense and exclusive focus on the rational processing of everything, including relationships. They can be perceived as uncaring, unfeeling, or intellectually arrogant. Hypervigilant. People with the hypervigilant saboteur have a continuous, intense anxiety, all about the dangers and what could go wrong. They have a vigilance that never rests. And my 14-year-old son has this as his top saboteur. So he overplans things, over worries about things, thinks things are going to be worse than they are, and stresses about things which most people just take in their stride. Next is the pleaser saboteur. The pleaser saboteur indirectly tries to gain acceptance and affection by helping, pleasing, rescuing, or flattering others. They often lose sight of their own need and become resentful as a result. And in my experience, the pleaser saboteur is the most common in the mum clients that I'm working with, because they end up putting themselves last. They end up saying yes when they mean no. They then become resentful that they're doing everything. They feel like a slave and nobody listens or nobody helps. Next is the restless saboteur. People with restless saboteur constantly in search of greater excitement in the next activity or constant busyness. They're rarely at peace or content with the current activity. And the stickler saboteur. Those with the stickler saboteur are prone to perfectionism, and they have a need for order and organization, which is taken too far. They're often anxious, trying to make too many things perfect. My dad had the stickler saboteur, and that meant we had to follow the rules. We had to be very careful. We had to do everything properly or not at all. And that made us feel as though we were never enough because we couldn't live up to his requirements and perfectionism. And finally, the victim saboteur. Those with the victim saboteur are often emotional and temperamental as a way to gain attention and affection. They have an extreme focus on internal feelings, particularly painful ones, and can have a martyr streak. But worst of all is the master saboteur, otherwise known as the judge, which everybody has. It's a universal saboteur that affects everyone. It's the one that beats you up repeatedly over mistakes or shortcomings. It warns you obsessively about future risks. It wakes you up in the middle of the night worrying, and it gets you fixated on what is wrong with others or your life, etc. Your judge activates the other saboteurs, causing much of your stress and unhappiness, reduces your effectiveness, and harms your relationships. Now, I'd just like to share a short story which really depicts the judge saboteur, but also the sage. And that is the stallion story. So a farmer had a stallion in a village, and he entered the stallion into a horse show, and the stallion won first prize. So when the farmer got home, all the villagers came to see him and said, "What an amazing thing has happened. Your stallion won first prize. What an amazing stallion it is. That is absolutely fantastic." And the farmer said, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" Now, a few days later, as the stallion had won first prize at the horse show, some thieves came to the village and stole the stallion. And all the villagers came to see the farmer and said, "Oh no, this is awful. Your stallion's been stolen. How could that happen to you?" They felt so sorry for him. And he said, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And a few days later, the stallion returned home. He managed to break away from his captors, and with him he brought a whole herd of wild mares. So the farmer was delighted that the stallion had returned with the load of wild mares as well. So he was pleased about this, and all the villagers came to see him, and the villagers said, "Wow, that's amazing! Your stallion's come back. He's brought all these brood mares." And the farmer said, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And then one day, the farmer's son was riding one of the brood mares, and he fell off and broke his leg. All the villagers came to the farmer again and said, "I can't believe your son's broken his leg. That's an awful thing to happen. How dreadful." And the farmer replied, again, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And at this point, the villagers were a bit suspicious as to why he kept responding like this. They just didn't understand why he couldn't see whether something was good or bad, because it was so obvious to them. And then a few days later, that country went to war, and all the young men were called up to fight in the war. But as the son had broken his leg, he didn't get called up to fight in the war. And by this time, the villagers didn't bother coming to see the farmer, because they knew he was going to say, "Who knows what is good and what is bad?" And that shows how the villagers were all being captured by their judge-saboteur, judging what was good and what was bad. And the farmer was staying in sage, not judging the situations, because you never know whether they are, in fact, good or bad. So I'd now like to introduce you to your beautiful sage. The sage lives in a different region of your brain, and it generates positive emotions while handling life's challenges. It's where all your inner strength and wisdom is stored. Your greatest happiness and performance is generated through your sage, and we need to learn to boost our sage. So I'm just going to stop sharing now, and we're going to move into a time of contemplation. I'm going to give you an opportunity to get to know your wiser elder self. So you can turn your cameras off if you feel more comfortable. This is a short contemplation called the wiser elder self. So have a think about the problem or challenge that you'd like to develop greater clarity on. Something that has some energy about it right now. If you have multiple challenges going on, just pick one. Don't overthink this. And as you do, I'm going to give you a minute just to think about what that challenge might be. So let's do the visualization. I'm going to turn my video off, and you can do the same. I'm going to close my eyes, and I suggest you do the same. Please close your eyes. Bring your attention into your body. Don't be in your head. Feel the weight of your body on your seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. And so long as you're paying attention to your feet, try to find as many of your beautiful toes as possible. Wiggle them as you need to. Find as many toes as you can and notice all the different sensations in your feet. Now explore your sense of touch. Gently rub a finger and thumb together with such attention that you can feel the fingertip ridges on both fingers. Now rub all the fingertips of one hand against all the fingertips and palm of the other hand and feel all the sensations of touch. Now take a few deep breaths and notice the rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. Let your breath settle into this natural, relaxed rhythm, and just notice the gentle rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. Now you are going to visit your wiser elder self. Towards the end of your life, your wiser elder self is healthy of mind and body. And now you're going to visit your wiser elder self. Just imagine and notice what kind of dwelling she is in, your wiser elder self. Just imagine and notice what kind of dwelling she is in, your wiser elder self. Just imagine what kind of setting this being lives in. And see something about this setting, the physicality of that setting, whatever seems to be interesting. Notice that. And now, notice your wiser elder self, healthy of mind and body, having lived a great life. Notice the attire that your wiser elder self is wearing, the kind of attire that fits this being, the spirit of this being. Notice the physical posture wherever this being is standing or sitting. Notice the physicality, the posture, the overall aura of your wiser elder self. Notice the general emotions and aura and energy that seem to be all around your wiser elder self. What's the energy, emotion of this being that you can see and feel? Notice the facial expression of your wiser elder self and notice the eyes. And now you go to your wiser elder self. You are now facing your wiser elder self and ask this being, what's important to me to pay attention to in this situation or problem that I'm considering? What's important to me to pay attention to in this situation or problem that I'm considering? And you ask your wiser elder self, what truly matters here? What truly matters here? And you ask your wiser elder self, what doesn't matter so much and I shouldn't worry about? What doesn't matter so much and I shouldn't worry about? And you ask your wiser elder self, what else do you want to tell me? What else do you want to tell me? And now you thank your wiser elder self. You embrace your wiser elder self. And as you do, you become one together. Your wiser elder self becomes one with you, becomes part of you, and you feel this being inside of yourself. You feel this beautiful being, this beautiful energy, this wisdom inside of yourself. Notice where in your body you feel the presence of your wiser elder self so that you can anchor it for yourself. Notice where in your body you feel the presence of your wiser elder self so that you can anchor it for yourself. And now return to noticing your weight on the seat. Feel the weight of your feet on the floor. Notice your breath, the gentle rising and falling of your chest or stomach with each breath. And notice the presence of your beautiful, wiser elder self within you and with you, because this being is always with you. Notice that presence. You have ancient wisdom in you. This being is always with you. You get to always consult your wiser elder self at a moment's notice and access your deepest wisdom. I will be quiet for a minute. With your eyes still closed, just contemplate and be with this and anything that you want to remind yourself. And if you wish for another minute, I'll be quiet. Or you can open your eyes, switch on your camera, and if you wish to continue, take any notes. So I hope you enjoyed that opportunity to start to get to know your wiser elder self. And I'd just like you to share in the chat box, how well did you get to know your sage in those few moments? So on a score of 1 to 5, 1 being you didn't get to know your sage very much, and 5 being you really got a clear picture of her and you felt her, what she was like, maybe what she looked like, you could picture what she was wearing. So just share in the chat whether it was a small amount at 1 or 5, a good amount. So 3, 5, 4, 3, 5. Okay, and what about clarity on the challenge that you brought to this evening session? How clear did you get clarity on the challenge you're facing? So 1, if you didn't get very much clarity, and 5, if you got a good level of clarity. 4, 4, 5, 3, 4, 4. Okay, so a variety of levels of clarity there. It's a really great exercise just to know that that wisdom is inside you if you give your body and brain the chance to stop and to think clearly. So I'm just going to share my screen again to share about the Positive Mental Fitness Bootcamp. On this program, you will learn to boost your self-command muscle. So that's all about working out how to respond instead of reacting because your saboteurs have told you to react. Intercept the judge saboteur. So notice when the judge is judging yourself or others or your circumstances and how to intercept it. How to intercept your accomplice saboteurs. So now you have a note of some of your top saboteurs in particular. You may be able to start how to intercept them. So you'll start to notice them and then you'll know what to do when they arise. How to shift from saboteur to sage. How to boost the sage powers, which you'll get to learn about. There's 5 sage powers. And then you'll be able to take clear-headed, laser-focused action. So not driven by your saboteurs, but coming from a place of strength and calmness and wisdom, which is your sage. And then how to sustain the momentum. And what's included in the Positive Mental Fitness program? It's a 1-hour weekly video sessions, which released on Saturdays to increase your PQ knowledge. 8 audio chapters of Shirzad Shameen's book, Positive Intelligence, to listen to. Full access to the Positive Intelligence app, so that gets downloaded onto your phone and that guides your daily practice, and you have 12 months from the date that you downloaded it to continue to use it. You have the interactive PQ gym on your phone with daily progress tracking so that can show how you're building up your positive mental fitness muscles as you do the practice. And you'll be part of a PQ pod with a maximum of 5 participants, which is facilitated and supported by me, meeting for 30 minutes each week online to help sustain your daily practice. So what commitment is required from you? Remember, this is a boot camp, so it's an intense workout for your brain. You'll need to commit to a personal PQ practice for at least 15 minutes per day, along the lines of some of the meditations I've been sharing with you this evening. Listen to the 1-hour video session once a week, which is released on a Saturday. Show up for the 30-minute pod check-in once a week. Listen to the 8 audio chapters of the Positive Intelligence book. And finally, connect to your pod members once a day via the PQ app. So how much does it cost? So this is not a transaction, it's a transformation. And I've invested thousands of pounds in my coaching, and it's a real opportunity to invest in yourself. You've heard about what I'm offering. I'll be there to give you my personalized support all the way through. And although you may have made some progress tonight, learning about your saboteurs and focusing on your challenge and getting to know your wiser elder self, you can take this into your life, but as you know, things can get messy. And I can help you through this program to get lasting results, which will bring transformation. So the cost, including the discount code that is just for this evening, is £295. And that gives you all the different applications that I've just spoken about and my personalised support as well. And there's 100% risk-free guarantee. So that is, if within 14 days you decide that this program is not right for you and it's not giving you the impact you want, I will refund your payment in full with no questions asked. So there's a complete money back guarantee, which enables you to step into this risk-free. The next programme starts on Saturday, the 29th of October, so just at the end of half term, and then we'll have the 6 weeks in the run-up to Christmas period. So next steps. The next steps would be to follow the link here. I'll put it in the chat, and this will take you to a form, a short form just to fill in, to enable me to arrange a short telephone conversation with you to check what you're looking to achieve through the programme, to check it's the right time for you to do the programme and that we can work well together. And then I will send you an invoice for payment, and you can start to download the app straight away and begin to use that in advance of the course starting on the 29th of October. If you've got any questions, then please stay on the call afterwards, or if you want to write any questions in the chat box, I'd be happy to answer them. And I thank you for your time this evening. It's been a pleasure to share this exciting opportunity with you, and I do look forward to working with you in the future. Thanks very much.